votes for first team all defense. That's a no-brainer there.
So who was the starting five again?
Rudy Gobert, Paul George, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Marcus Smart, and Eric Bledsoe.
What about Kawhi?
I did think it was interesting that Kawhi did not.
Because Marcus Smart
make it.
Yeah, Kawhi would be on my.
I mean, Kawhi was out for a lot of games too, so maybe voters held that against him or something. I thought that was interesting as well.
Rudy Gobert's just as good as it gets. So most of those guys make total sense.
No. The first team makes sense, of course. But the other votes are kind of interesting as well. Russell Westbrook also got some votes too.
Russell's a better defender than James.
Yes.
Westbrook can defend when he wants to. When Russell's into it, he can defend because Russell's strong.
Yes.
If Russell gets up in you,
relentless.
Yeah. Westbrook gets up in you, he can defend. Drew Holiday's another guy. I don't know if he made it. Drew Holiday's another guy that physically, if he gets up in you defensively, he can push you around.
No, Drew Holiday's a good player.
Yeah.
Finally, Kyrie Irving is a top free agent this summer, and there's a strong sense that his days with the Celtics are over. If he does leave Boston, a reunion with LeBron in LA seems to still be on the table. Here's Brian Windhorst on Kyrie's options in free agency.
If you'd have asked me 6 months ago, Sage, I'd have said the door was closed and locked. That was not going to happen. But over the last few months, there has no doubt been a thawing between Kyrie and LeBron, and Kyrie has become to be more open to joining the Lakers and has done some research on the organization. That said, with Magic leaving, that was a guy that he felt the connection to, and with the great opportunities in Brooklyn and in New York, plus Boston trying to keep him, I think the Lakers are lower on his list, but they're on his list, and that gives them a fighting chance.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, but I have said this. When Kyrie left LeBron, my takeaway was Kyrie's career pre-LeBron, and I was injured a lot and a little bit of a diva. I thought they worked together great.
I did too, and I don't know. I could kind of see this happening. I know that there's a lot of options out there.
I know.
And that report that, teams are kind of backing off of Kyrie, I don't believe for a second. Kyrie is a superstar. He had a bad series. It wasn't working in Boston for lots of different reasons. But
listen, man, Kyrie's more of a 1B. And I think with LeBron, LeBron overwhelms the room. And I get Kyrie at the time was like, okay, but you can't tell me these two on the floor late in quarters, late in sets, late in games didn't work together.
Well, if their relationship is fully repaired, because there were some things that made him want to leave LeBron, not just like him not wanting to be number two. And I think that everything that happened in Boston could have been a wake-up call, like, hey, we had a good thing going here. Like, this worked. We played off each other well and had success. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think that Kyrie is a smart guy, and every situation, while it might be the opportunity to be the guy, might not be the best situation to win championships, as we know. So I think this could be in play.
Exciting. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Live.
Yesterday I grabbed my phone and Chris Broussard's trending. Let's bring out Chris Broussard, a voice of NBA on this network, New York Times, former Cavs beat writer, The Odd Couple, Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. You thought Rob Parker was the only guy you got in fights with.
I know, man. Wow. I said on Undisputed this morning, I said, the way KD is on social media, this could be a topic every day with me. Who knows how long this thing might go on.
Okay, so my takeaway, if you didn't hear it, was I don't want to get into what device it is. If I'm communicating with somebody over hours and multiple texts or DMs, it's a relationship. So to me, I don't care what the device is. I don't care. It's like I'm in radio. I'm also in podcasting. I'm on streaming. I'm on radio. I'm on Sirius. I'm on TV. Do you know what we call all these? Audio.
Right.
I don't even call it radio. I just have an audio platform, which is like 7 different things. Podcast, streaming, XM, my affiliates, and then I do a TV simulcast. So to me, it is all just kind of the same. You're talking. Why
I'm 50 years old. I don't know all those different intricacies between text and DM.
Hey, I had to ask I didn't even know what cap meant. I'm like, anybody, I thought that was Kappa guy or something.
I took it as bust a cap in your story. But no, unless that's what cap means, he didn't deny what I said. You just said, you don't have my number. I do have a cell phone number for him he gave me long ago. I'm sure it's outdated. Players change numbers all the time.
Yeah.
But there's that. But he slid into my DMs. All right. He's the one hitting me on Instagram DM, Twitter DM. And then we have these long conversations. I actually underestimated it on Undisputed yesterday. I said 2 to 3 hours. I looked it up yesterday, 5 hours. like not 5 hours straight,
right?
But pretty much like going back and forth. I remember what I was doing those days, and it was like just constant texting for 4 or 5 hours. So, and look, let me say this: KD has the right. We talk about him being sensitive and all that. If going back at the media, there's a part of me that's like, you know what? We critique these guys. If they want to come back, I know you've had guys come back at you. That's their right. That's fine.
Hey, Ty Lue called me at my house. He was great. Yelled at me, but he was great. I'm trying to think of somebody else that called me. Odell Beckham. I was out skiing. Odell called me. We talked for 25 minutes. It was great.
Right.
He didn't always love me. I've always said, if you won't come on the couch, I'll give my number out to athletes. And I've told, if Westbrook wants to scream at me, I'm okay. And I'll never, Odell told me a lot of stuff that I will never say just to protect his butt, even though I can say sometimes he's a little needy. I think that's fair to say. But what bothers me is Kevin is trying to make it sound like you just made crap up.
And that's why I went back with the details of, I don't want to release these screenshots of DMs and all that. I want to keep all that private out of respect for him and other peoples I communicate with around the NBA. But, yeah, I had to go with a little detail. I got 60-plus DMs from you in the last year or so and, how long the conversations were and stuff. And I said it on Undisputed, and I say it right now. If somebody can prove that I lied about that story, you really think I'm going to go on national TV and make up a 4-minute rant with details that's just completely made up, completely false? To me, that's a fireable offense.
Yeah.
If somebody can prove I was lying about that, then fire me. FS1, Fox Sports Radio, fire me. Really.
Yeah.
That's how much I'm putting on this. Fire me.
No, I think, it's funny. And I go back and forth on this. I think it's easy to look at Kevin Durant and say, Kevin is sensitive. You want to know who else really sensitive? Aaron Rodgers. And you want to know something about Aaron Rodgers and Kevin Durant? They're very thoughtful people. Is that a lot of people, stuff lands on them. I'm so numb from criticism. You could say, I'm just like, it's concrete to me.
You're like Westbrook.
I just don't care.
With that.
But we have to be careful of ripping athletes because they're sensitive. These are 20-year-olds. Okay, I'm 50. I'm just, at this point, I've had so many slings and arrows. Yeah. But if I was a 20-year-old and I was on these shows all day, I think I'd be on sliding into DMs too.
I get it. And I try to put myself in other people's shoes to see how I would want them to treat me. And I get it. Like, I understand with athletes, if somebody was on television or radio ripping me throughout the day and then comes up to me and acts like everything's good, I get why they'd be upset. Or they may say something Boogie Cousins a year or 2 years ago, said something to me in the locker room. I had never met him, but I had talked about him on TV and had talked about what people were telling me in the Kings organization about him. And he was like, he challenged me,
right.
But I respected that, and we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
And it was good. Like you said, with Odell and those guys that call you, I like that. So a lot of me and KD's communication has been, he'll reach out after he doesn't like something I wrote or I said on TV. And then initially he'll reach out hardcore, like coming at me.
Right.
But then we talk it out. And, we've talked about other things that I've mentioned beyond basketball. So that comes into the conversation. And then it ends up being all good. And I don't know how this will end. I hope I'm not going to reach out to KD anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to with me. But at some point down the line, I'll reach out and hopefully everything can get cleared up. But I kind of like this, what's going on has played out in private with me and him to some degree before.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's Kevin Durant, to his credit, does not deny he's watching.
Right.
Everybody,
and I give him his attitude, from what I can gather, is I'm gonna go back at you. Like everybody else looks at it as a weakness. I don't think he looks at it as a weakness. He looks at it like, you said this about me, I'm calling you out. I don't care if you got 15 Twitter followers or you're on national television. So, one thing I will give KD, Colin, it does not affect his play.
Oh, no.
You see athletes, as you know, in New York, The back page kills them. They can't perform in New York. This guy, he plays great no matter what's going on with social media or criticism.
Can I say one thing? Can I look at the camera? Kevin Durant, you don't DM me. I've called you the best player. I talk about you all the time. I constantly give you advice and support and love you. I'm now the only media person in the world you don't call. I'm the one that said you're better than LeBron.
You sound like the people on Twitter, like, all we do is compliment you and you never give us any attention.
I am. I'm tired of not being acknowledged by KD.
Oh, my God.
Chris, stick around. We got a lot of stuff. The Drake thing's fascinating. The Kyrie rumors. Chris Broussard more. Any coach or GM will tell you the foundation of all this stuff is getting really good talent and then molding it. But you got to get it first. That's why people go to the combine. That's why drafts are so essential in all these sports. That's why ZipRecruiter does the same thing. Listen, you can be a good boss, but you don't